right, if you could all join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you for coming today. Amber is unable to be with us. We'll kick it off with any public comment. Nobody in the physical audience, anybody in the Zoom audience have anything they'd like to say before we get started? I don't see any hands. I'd like to just switch up the agenda a little bit and do the 100 square foot exemption first, because I think that'll go faster than Jeffy's wetlands application. Does anyone mind? Okay. So we have a 100 square foot exemption request from Mr. Wolosoff. The application is to put in a 36-inch by 36-inch air conditioner. It's on the road side of the property, not the water side of the property. It's behind the house. The exemption has not yet been used on this property. And there is a DEC letter of non-jurisdiction. So. Please turn off Bonsman's camera, thank you.
Looking at the plan sheet,
Mm-hmm.
it looks to be a wood deck down by the, is that the bulkhead? It's hard to read. I mean, the plan
Yes,
sheet,
there's a
I can't.
For the bulkhead.
Right.
It's
There is one.
that for me would constitute the one-time 100 square foot exemption.
There's no record of the exemption being used in the town records for the building department. So that could predate the creation of the exemption.
How long has the wood deck been there, Mr. Wilson?
Oh, we've been at the house for 26 years. It was there before that.
Yeah, I'm just looking for the date of the square foot exemption.
What's that?
Looking for the date that the 100 square foot exemption came into place. I thought it was 2015 or something like that.
Less than 26 or more than 26.
Yeah.
When you bought the house, was that deck there?
Yeah, there was something.
It was there?
Yeah. We did a lot of construction.
I don't know, I guess for myself, I'd like to look further into it, that's all.
Yeah, I'm just looking to see if I can get the GIS map up and see.
Yeah, what are the other alternatives? Is there anything on the building where this could be located? And has Teresa Mason been out to have a look?
You know, it's a 100 square foot exemption, so it's kind of as of right, as long as it hasn't been used prior. Let's see. It looks like.
It was
that
adopted in
wouldn't-
2007.
Okay, so then this platform that you're talking about, the wood deck, was around in 2001, according to the GIS map. So it predates that law.
Can't read the map. These two lines, they're the setbacks? The vegetated buffers there? Is that what I'm looking at? How far back is this?
It's behind the house, so it's, let's see. You mean how far back from the water or?
It-
So it's on, let's see, that's the low bulkhead. It's 50 feet. Wait, nope, I'm wrong. It's not-
There's a distance of the front corner to the back corner of the house, but it's not legible. Amber, next time if we have something like this, let's have a legible survey.
It's 30 feet from the
To the
low
corner?
bulkhead in the front to, yeah, to that back corner. It's like 30, 35 feet.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely can't read that. But,
So
We've had this for a week, no offense, but if it wasn't legible, we should have requested this earlier than today.
So, I mean, the area he's asking to put it in is between the house and the road.
Sorry, I'm trying to pull up the PDF.
Don't see. I don't see a problem with it. The exemption hasn't been used. There's no record of it being used on the property. It's small, it's 36 by 36, behind the house, on the roadside.
mhm.
The other question is, where would you put it?
Well, that's the, yeah, I mean, it seems like the logical place for it to go. You're not gonna, have the air conditioner up by the road and then run all the pipes back to the house. That doesn't make sense. I mean, I think this is the most innocuous place to put it.
Actually not totally optimal because it's right at the house and these things are noisy. So, so the building directly behind the house is a storage building?
That's the garage.
Oh, it's a garage. It's hard to read on the map, that's why. And the one way off to the left.
My wife has a painting studio.
Okay.
Was that existing
As of when?
when you bought the house
No,
or no?
it was part of the construction project.
Okay.
But it's been there since 2001. I can share the screen if you want to see.
What's that?
I can share the screen if you want to see the layout of the property.
Those are my questions.
Any better?
When was the studio built?
When we did the house, so my daughter's 26 and just born, so 26 years ago.
Same time?
Yeah.
Amber, what year did you say that the code was written? 2007?
2007.
All right, I mean, I would just like to look further into it, that's all.
When I look at all those houses along the front, where do they normally put these air conditioning units?
In the backyard or the side yard? I mean, they're all up
They're
against.
all
the
gonna,
houses.
they're all gonna be in that spot, that kind of a spot.
Yeah,
Mhm.
As much as I don't like it, I see it where it is, okay, and so close to the, I don't know, I don't know of another place to put it.
right. Yeah, that's,
I mean, unless I'm missing something, Albert, what do you think? Do you think there's a place to put this? I mean, obviously, how far can you have it from the house?
Yeah, I mean, it's where it goes,
Yeah.
Not up against the house.
Yeah.
It's just a question of, my question was if that deck was the one-time exemption, 100 square foot exemption, and obviously they're saying that it was built before, so.
Mhm. There are a lot of options here. They're not. The only option is the, maybe, I don't know, put it by the garage, but that doesn't really change anything.
So this would extinguish the 100-foot
correct.
at this particular, from here forward, okay?
Yeah.
And what happens with the remodeling of the deck that's on the front? If that comes to be just a replacement as is?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Just asking the question, I just want to see what the alternatives
Yeah,
are.
no, you're right. You got it.
And in this grant, can we stipulate that this is a one-time, this 9 square feet is a one-time use and it's extinguished? Because that has been, a bone of contention before. People have come in and say, oh, I used 25 square feet the last time. I want to use the other 75 feet now. I think we need to stipulate that this is it.
Yeah, we can do that.
Well,
If we do that, I'm okay with it. But go ahead, Auburn.
no, I was saying that is part of the new wetlands revision set.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
the
but-
section I'm looking at here is 129.3H says the wetlands permit exemption for all new construction less than or equal to 100 square feet is an exemption of all new accumulated construction totaling 100 square feet or less.
So the 100 square feet or less, we can say
Yeah.
qualifies
So
as that exemption.
I think in the revision, it's spelled out a little bit more clearly.
And of course, this is all being removed in the new wetlands code, so let's get that passed.
Or even if you had the wetlands code, what would you do with this kind of a situation?
I think you would still have to consider an exemption for it.
Right.
So,
Right.
um,
Unless I'm looking at this wrong, it's,
no,
even if you had the current code in, but so I think what Albert, you're asking is how do you make this a precedent going forward with other homes that might be in that same situation? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's going to be hopefully part and parcel of the new the wetlands revision, that there will be no more 100 square foot exemption
Right.
And that would take.
inside the
take care of
100
it.
foot.
Except right now, we have a pre-existing deck that if we
It predates the code.
dates the code.
Right. So it's grandfathered essentially. All right, so is everyone okay with approving this with the caveat that it extinguishes the 100 square foot exemption on the property?
I am.
Gordon?
I would be okay. I don't see where we can go with it.
I just wanted to look further, but I mean, you have 3 votes, whatever.
Okay. All right, so we'll put that on for the 29th.
Thank you. What does that mean?
It will have a resolution, we'll pass a resolution on the 29th at our board meeting, giving you permission to do it.
Oh, okay,
Just saying that, yes, you've used the 100 square foot exemption and you're good.
so it's gonna be okay. Right, thank you all.
You're welcome. All right.
So with the new code, if this were, we had a new code in place, even though this was pre-existing, it'd still be in the same situation.
Mm-hmm.
How would he
Yeah, but-
resolve that?
Well, people are always going to be able to come to you and ask for a variance or a waiver for
Right.
something. So if you have a pre-existing home, the entire property is within the 100-foot setback, you're going to have people coming and saying, hey, my air conditioner,
I got
I
that.
need to up. So you're not going to stop it. You just need to have a
Is there
mechanism.
any way, can you have a pre-existing, that 100 square foot already used with the new code, that would the exemption be used? I mean, is it,
Well, it's no longer a 100 square foot exemption. That's not what you're asking for. You're asking for a waiver or a variance to do this thing that, so it'll probably be, in this case, it would have been less than 100 square foot, right? It's the space.
They'd have
that's
to go to the
considered-
ZBA.
Depending on
They'd
how
have
the code's written, yeah.
Yeah. And
So,
some of the options might be if there's like a deck, you can say, well, take 9 feet off your deck and put the air conditioner in.
so there was no permit here requested. And I guess the only thing I would say in the future would be great is if we had a better visual thing of what's here.
yeah, so the way that this got to us was because he submitted an application to the building department. And the building department said, in order for you to do this, you need to get the 100 square foot exemption from the board, and then we can issue your permit. So there is a permit involved. We just don't issue it. And this was really just the technical way of keeping track of the 100 square foot exemption requests, because before we didn't really have a mechanism in place. So that's what we're doing here. All right, Jeffy Wetlands. So we closed the hearing at the last meeting. So question is, what would we like to put in the resolution?
Did we close it to written comments? Were we waiting for anything?
Don't believe so. No, we weren't waiting for anyone.
Written comment, Matt submitted what you guys needed because they moved the dry well underneath the pool and.
Yeah, it was just moving the dry well out from underneath the pool. It was a typo, essentially.
Yeah.
And then we received no other correspondence.
But that was it.
That's it.
It was just clarifying that one thing.
So what are our standard restrictions that we normally throw in?
Yep.
Because there wasn't anything special about this. We fixed all the problems in discussion, in open hearing.
Mhm. Yeah.
Not really.
There was a comment about moving the pool fence to the landward side of the vegetative buffer.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to do that.
You didn't fix me, Ben.
Well,
not
I'm not sure
fair.
that's possible,
But
Albert.
that's all right. It's what it is. I thought the house should have been outside of the 100-foot boundary line. And I asked for alternative design to accommodate that. and the pool was rotated 90 degrees to
Yep.
lessen the amount of extension into the wetland. I don't think that's an appreciable difference, considering that the CAC voted unanimously to move the house out of the wetlands boundary. That was one of their conditions that they asked for. And the majority of the planning board asked to have the house moved out of the 100-foot boundary.
Did we
So
get
that
any
was,
alternatives?
what's that?
Did they submit any alternatives?
No, well, they rotated the pool 90 degrees to take off some square foot that went into the wetlands boundary.
So that was the alternative they provided, was rotating the pool.
Yes, that
Reducing the
was their
intrusion.
alternative. You're right, Meg. Yes.
But there's still a corner of the deck in the hundreds, in the,
Yeah. The deck and the pool. It's what it is. I just don't feel like it was much of an effort to really accommodate. And I guess more so, I'm frustrated that two committees have largely requested of us, advised us for this. It hasn't happened. And our wetlands code revision, we've been working on from at least last July, maybe June. And here we are at the end of September. Very frustrating. I feel like our wetlands code revision is being slow walked. That would prevent things like this, to offer more protections for our wetlands.
they're good points, Albert.
What? I'm sorry.
He said those are good points, Albert. But the wetlands code is being reviewed by the CAC, and it's going to the planning board as soon as they finish their comments on site plan.
I know those things.
So it is
Yeah.
moving forward. It just takes.
But it's been a long time,
I know, it's frustrating.
a long time. And there's no reason why it's taken this long, honestly. But that's my
So-
opinion.
It's fair. So they've also added trench drains to help with the runoff. Teresa Mason recommended. So those are in the plans that Matt sent over. They have a very robust vegetative buffer.
The question is, could they move the whole thing outside the wetlands? Isn't that really what we're talking about here?
Not without going into the front and side yard setbacks.
They could shrink the house to accommodate those setbacks nominally. But they want what they want.
So they're removing the cottage that's down closer by the water. They're getting rid
They're
of that.
removing that, right, they're
They're
removing.
getting rid, yeah, they're getting rid of that. They're abandoning the old septic system. So that's going away.
Those are things they have to do to build the house they want, so. Ugh.
I mean, typically you have the silt fence requirements. Those would stay the same, I would assume.
Well, we've had a lot of these pools in the wetlands we've dealt with, okay, at least in my short term here. And I really don't like those pools being in the wetlands. That's just my opinion. I think that, it was good they did that, cross section there on the last set of plans that they provided. The question is, they did have an alternative, but the alternative really did not take them out of the wetlands. So the alternative, they provided an alternative, but it's still, the alternative is what it would look like. I mean, you really want to look about alternatives. What would it look like if it was not in the wetlands? Isn't that really an alternative?
Well, I mean, then they wouldn't be here, so if
It wouldn't
it's
look like
not-
this.
No, they wouldn't be here for the application. If there's no intrusion into that 100-foot, there's no reason for them to be here. So because what they want to do has intrusion into the 100-foot, they're here. Technically, the way our code is currently written, you're allowed to build in the 75 to 100-foot area.
Right.
So they're here because technically they're allowed to build in that space, but we have it so that if you're going to build in that space, you have to come for a permit through the wetlands so that we can make sure that there are mitigating features included in the application. That's the way it's currently written in the code. So that's.
And a
why
mitigating
they're here.
feature, and one mitigating feature is to take it out and then, or just deny the request, and then they can go build a house outside of the 100-foot without coming to us. Look, they're not doing us a favor by coming here and asking our permission to build in the 25 feet. The phrasing seems to be like they're doing us a favor.
No, they're not doing, I'm just saying that's the way the code is written. It's not us doing them a favor or them doing us a favor. It's the way their rules are written about the property rights. So in this instance, if you want to use that portion of your property, you have to come to the town board and get a wetlands permit in order to build in that 75 to 100-foot area.
Yeah,
Because
and the town board can say no.
that's correct. I'm just saying, they're not doing something to us by applying. That's one of their basic rights to apply, to ask the question.
Board has to apply the standards.
Right.
29.5. Those are the standards that have to be applied. It's not, does the application meet these standards is the question you have to ask yourself.
Right. So going through the standards, the first one is, does the proposed action and location will not create a risk of impairing the function and value of the wetlands buffer? In this instance, I would say no, because they're actually adding significant wetlands buffer to a bulkheaded property. That would be my evaluation. The second question is, the proposed project will not diminish any wetland in size unless the approving authority finds that proposed activity is water dependent or requires access to the wetland as a central element of its basic function and will result in the minimum possible alteration or impairment of the wetlands. This application does not directly impact any wetlands in size or function. It's a bulkheaded property, and they're increasing the buffer, which would reduce runoff and improve any filtering of water that does get down to the bulkhead. So I would say no to that one. 3, the proposed project will not have a negative impact on the quality and quantity of groundwater. They're upgrading the sanitary system to an IA system, so that will be an improvement upon what's currently existing, and they'll go from 2 septic systems to 1.
This is new construction, so they have to do it.
Yes, but it's still happening.
Mhm.
Why they have to do it doesn't matter, it's just the fact that it's happening, right?
Keep going.
When you're doing the assessment. Number 4, the proposed project will not create a net increase in the risk of runoff.
So we're taking mitigating measures with dry wells, et cetera, et cetera.
Right, dry wells, the trench drains, the increased vegetative buffer are all mitigations to potential runoff. 5, the applicant has demonstrated that there are no practicable alternatives which allow the project to be constructed outside of the regulated area. Practicable alternatives are presumed to be available unless the applicant clearly demonstrates otherwise. In making this determination, note that the town board generally finds that conducting the proposed regulated activity on the side or landward side of the house is highly preferred to conducting it within the regulated area. So this is the one that Albert brought up as a question. The original plan had far more intrusion into the 75 and 100-foot, so they came back with an alternative that reduced that intrusion. So the question here is that enough? Number 6, the applicant has submitted information to describe alternative site locations and configurations sufficient for determination that the proposed work and location would have a less adverse environmental impact than any other practicable alternative. In order for it to be approved, practicable alternatives that are constructed entirely outside of the vegetative buffer are presumed to have less adverse impact on the wetlands than projects that do not meet such standards unless the applicant clearly demonstrates otherwise. So this is like the second part of the last one.
Well, 5 and 6 are the question, and they haven't met those. So we have to decide if that's okay or not.
Right. And then number 7 is the town board has determined that the applicant will voluntarily implement within 3 months of the issuance of the permit adequate mitigation measures that contribute to the protection and enhancement of wetlands and wetland benefits. And those mitigation measures seem to be built into the application. So,
Yeah.
Silt fencing is one of the first things that happen, and that's always a mitigation that we put on every application.
So let's play this out. Say we deny this and they shrink the house, it's outside the wetlands, then all the other benefits that we have negotiated with them basically can go away.
Correct. Right.
They don't have to increase the vegetative buffer. They don't have to do the dry wells. They don't have to do the trench drains. They don't have to do any of the things that we've asked them to do if they take this out of the wetlands.
Right.
I just want to be clear on that.
I mean, I personally think it's worth having a solid 75 feet wide vegetative buffer.
Mhm.
And it's probably even a little more than that because it's an odd shape, but it's at least 75 feet in width. Some places it's definitely deeper. But I think there's a benefit to that. I think there's a benefit to capturing the runoff.
Look, the environmental improvements are a solid positive here. And we only have the authority to get them to do that if they have to come to us for a wetlands permit.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. I think the benefits are positive.
I agree, Ben.
Mhm.
Planning board looked at this, they didn't look at this particular plan, is that correct?
Yeah, they did.
Well, an earlier version.
Right,
No,
not
the earlier, but this,
Not with the one
there's
with the-
minor changes to this. The pool's been rotated 90 degrees. There was a couple of.
They still were insisting it, the planning board was, what was the vote?
The majority
Majority.
wanted to see this out of the 100-foot wetlands boundary.
The CAC felt
And the
the same way.
CEC was unanimous, wanted to see it out of the wetlands.
I'm tempted to go along with what the committees felt, okay, because I think, what's the point of having committees if we're not following any of their,
I agree with you, Gordon.
I mean, as much as, I mean, I guess that's how I'm feeling.
So what happens now? Do we adjourn this?
So I'm just looking at the planning board memo. Yeah, I would say we'll adjourn it until we have a 5th board member who can break the tie.
Okay?
Okay. But then we get the revote again and it still might go whatever way it goes.
Right.
And in the meantime, should we ask them for?
And
Oh,
it's closed.
Well, the hearing's been
oh, that's
closed.
right, it's been
so
closed. We have to reopen it then.
We would
Okay,
have to reopen it, yeah.
Either take a vote on Monday, and see which way it goes.
okay.
So just for my notes, the conditions that we have are pretty standard for most of these wetlands applications. I have the silt fence, the trenchings are already on the plan, the vegetative buffer is already in the planning. Moving the pool fence landward of the vegetative buffer, so it's not on the, closer to the house. Are there any other conditions that you would want to see in this resolution? Other than it being completely outside of the 100 foot?
Good.
Okay. All right, so we will discuss this at the next work session.
Mhm.
All right. Board member reports, that's the next thing on our agenda.
The EMS met. To date, they've had 295 calls. EMTs are now able to give respiratory medication in needed cases. The EMS and the fire department and police participated in water rescue training on the island. Turkey Plunge. They were planned to have standby as they usually do at the Turkey Plunge. I guess there were issues as to delays with the work done at the EMS building, but apparently, should have checked with Joe today, apparently that has been resolved and should move forward. Should get underway soon, so I should ask Joe that.
Yeah.
And the foundation will purchase another ambulance.
Wonderful.
Wow.
Is this going to replace an existing or is it totally new?
I think one of them is getting old,
Yeah,
so it'll replace the oldest one.
Mhm.
which is really incredible that the foundation itself is buying it.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a wonderful thing that they do.
yeah, it's unbelievable. And the generosity of the people, the residents, to allow this to happen, really. That's all I had, Meg.
Meg, do you want to give green options?
I was not at Green Options, I was at Suffolk County Economic and Planning meeting,
Oh,
so,
okay.
yeah, I missed that. But like I said, I was at the Suffolk County
it away.
Economic Development and Planning Commission meeting up at Suffolk County. And what we did was we had a meeting of all the East End town planners and planning departments. And since we don't have a planner, I went because I was already up there for another meeting. And it's something that we're going to try to do quarterly so that all of the East End towns can kind of share ideas and get on the same page. And it helps with communication between the towns and Suffolk County Planning Commission. So, whenever we get an application, we send it to the Planning Commission for review. They review, send it back. So we discussed how that process is going, what kind of resources are available for the towns and municipalities. And they're supposed to be sending out just some information on when the next meeting will be, just to kind of see if we have any questions for them, anything that we need their assistance with. I told them that we have some town code that we might send their way for review. And so they were open and excited about that. But yeah, it was a good kind of, get to know everybody meeting and just kind of
Good.
helping them streamline their process a little bit, like glitches that the municipalities are having with their portal. There's a size limit to some of the documents it can take on. So when we get really large applications like Pearlman, it's hard to submit those to the planning commission, but they've sorted that out. They're working on it. So that was very interesting. It was an interesting conversation. What else do I have?
Well, for Green Options, which met last week, there's a discussion about ETIP, which is Energy Technology Innovation Partnership Project. They're holding a meeting on October 7th and 8th to sort of try to see where they are given funding changes and getting everything on track. There's also a regional meeting at the end of October, the 22nd and 23rd, which is in person in Portland, Maine. We're hoping to send someone, but we'll see. ETIP also wants to meet with Shelter Island before the final report on our situation of community solar, et cetera, is issued. So that will be coming up soon. It has not been set. Also, there was a lot of discussion over the Green Expo and how that went. In general, it went extremely well, very well received. There was a lot of activity. The solar tours, which were the second day, was well organized and well attended. What else? About 25 people signed up for the solar tours, which is a lot. And a lot of good information was disseminated, and that's kind of about it on Green Options. Very successful Green Expo.
Yes. Yeah, I thought it was very well attended.
Mhm.
Right. Suffolk County Board of Elections had their training yesterday here in the boardroom. So early voting starts
25th.
the 25th.
I have the list.
Yeah. So
Hold on.
Early vote
October.
often.
October 25th.
It's October.
Not September, October 25th. So they had their training here last night, which was kind of cool to see because they had all the gear and equipment and the machines and, it's kind of cool.
Pretty intense. You don't
Yeah.
realize.
It's a lot. It's a lot of training. Other than that, I don't have anything else. Our next budget meeting is Friday, the 26th, starting at 9 a.m. And, yeah, that's it.
I have two things carried over from, I guess, the last meeting, okay, was what were the procedures with those fines that were with the fire department again? How was that ever resolved?
So we're in the process of working on that, but
Yeah, so I
we'll have a briefing next month.
put together a letter with the police chief and the supervisor, and the clerk just gave me the addresses, so I'm gonna send that out. And try to get, it's only two, I think, that were, large fines, so. So I'll try to get that out maybe.
So we have now a new process, okay.
Right, after 60 days, she's gonna send anybody that hasn't paid to me, and I'll,
Okay. The
And
only-
the total, it's totaling what?
What, Ben? You were breaking up.
The outstanding fines are totaling approximately
A lot
40,000, 50,000?
around so.
$40,000 is where we were last year.
Sorry, how much, Chief Reed?
39,000 was where we were in 24. 25 we're still working on too.
Okay.
So,
We received money
answer
for
Councilman-
25.
yeah, to answer Councilman Gooding though, we tabled it for a month to continue to resolve some of the internal glitches, so to speak. And I think we should definitely leave this on the agenda and reconvene in a month and see where we're at.
Definitely.
Great, okay. The only other thing, there's two other items, okay. One was the access point on the causeway, was it called Middle Harbor Road? Okay, it's real, just maybe just talk a little bit about how that's going to happen here.
Yeah, so, well, the Shoreline Task Force, the Shoreline Access Task Force in 2022 recommended a number of code changes to Chapter 36 of the town code,
Right.
including adding a definition of town shoreline access, and then it had different categories,
Right.
town dock, town beach, those sorts of things. And so they recommended, so basically the code section will have a definition, and then there's a list that the town will maintain. The town board can adopt, certain sites to, and the Shoreline Access Task Force recommended a number of sites.
I saw that.
So you have authority as the board to say, okay, we're going to take some of these, we're going to take all of them, we're going to take more. And so I think Harbay Road, that place that you're talking about, was left off of that list. But because you're the town board, and because when you adopt that definition, you can add it if you like,
So it's an administrative.
Right, once that, you have to adopt those code changes to create the definition of shoreline access.
Right.
So that part of it is a, public hearing code change, like any other. But once you have the definition in existence, I believe just adding to the list itself is an administrative act that you guys can do.
So we have to update this to
To update the definitions.
Yes, we have to adopt updated legislation in order to add,
but this was never adopted.
correct. So that's what we have to do. We'd have to adopt that
Okay. All right.
into the code, and then we can add Harbay Road to it. The reason Middle Harbay Road was left off at the time is because at the time that they were doing the study, there was question as to who owned it, and that was going back and
But we
forth.
never adopted this.
Correct.
At that.
Because COVID hit, and then everything went haywire.
Got it, okay. All right, and the only other thing, Meg, and I wish Amber were here today, okay, is that, with stuff that goes on with the Community Housing Board, okay, I'm speaking for myself as a councilman, I've not received any documents that are sent on. I know that they were sent on, and I know they're available, and I would ask you to send me a copy of the last documents that we had talked about at the Community Housing Board. But I think that, I think that we should somehow or other be included, the complete board, in some of those documents with the Community Housing Board.
Which documents are you looking for?
Documents that had to deal with July 9th.
Let's see. Because I'm not sure that I received, so let me look.
We can address it next week.
Yeah.
I know Amber said that she had them, okay, but I have not received anything on it. Okay,
Yeah, I looked as well. I didn't get anything, and yesterday whenever it was, we were told that the July 9th letter was sent to CDLI. Liz Hanley said that in the meeting, and Amber said that she had a copy of it. And I went back to look. I never received a copy of it.
Yeah, so we'll go back and figure out where it went, who got it. I actually don't know that I received a copy of it, but that's a easy policy change with the Community Housing Board. We can just ask them to CC us on everything, and it's totally within our rights to do that. So we can easily make that change. We'll make sure that going forward, we get CC'd on everything.
more important, what the point I'm trying to get across is that, when, the supervisor is aware of it, and I think that the whole board should be aware of it. That's the point I'm trying to get across.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you. Yeah,
Thank you.
no problem.
Just to jump back one topic, the Middle Harbay Road, if we're going to have to adopt the plan going forward, since it got dropped in 22, why don't we add Middle Harbay Road and then adopt it?
Yes.
Rather than adopt it and then add
And then put
Harbay Road.
administrative.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
we could reconstitute the task force because we've also added some other waterfront properties, like CPF properties have been added since then that have waterfront. I don't know if they were included in the original, but you have Cartwright and then you have the White properties. Those all have waterfront.
We
I don't want to bog down the process too much.
Yeah, no, I get that, but
CPF, okay, you're considering waterfront property on CPF as access points?
no, I'm just wondering because I don't know how the original document categorized areas, but technically you could pull your boat up and
You,
to water,
but it's not a boat, it would be, yeah, I guess that has to be.
so I'm just wondering if that's,
The language has got to be spelled out for that as well.
right, that's
We're
what I
really
was,
not looking for people to interfere with, the marsh that's already there,
right.
okay?
But we
Kayak
also,
is something different,
well,
okay?
that's what I'm thinking, because we also bought the Causeway, right? So now we have the Causeway property and there's a landing right adjacent to it.
Right.
So, I'm just not sure if we need to consider that when we look at this document. And maybe we don't, but it's just something that came to my mind because I know that we did purchase more waterfront property recently. And I wasn't sure if that was accounted for in the Shoreline Access Task Force report.
Well, let's not try to mix up too many things here. I mean, we were going to adopt this in 22, and we know that Middle Harbor Bay Road is okay. So
Mhm.
those two things we can do now, and then we can reconstitute the task force to worry about the other things.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
I have no problem with that.
okay.
All right.
Do we need to put that on the schedule?
Yeah, I'll make a note. I actually already did.
Oh,
All right, does anybody have anything else? I'm going to make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss the employment history of an employee.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
right, thank you.